we're going to be talking about our main characters here. And as you can see, I have Farmer Boggis here. Okay, he's the first nasty farmer who we meet. I also have Farmer Bunce here. He's the little guy. Okay, and we have Farmer Bean. He's the tall, skinny guy, and later we also find out that he's the smart one. He comes up with all the plans. The other guys are also nasty and mean, but it's really Farmer Bean who comes up with the ideas of how to get that fox, okay? And they want to get him because he keeps stealing their chickens and ducks and geese. They don't like that too much. They don't want to give their chickens and ducks to just any animal roaming around in the woods. Now, in the lessons that are about to come up in Unit 2, we're going to explore the different foods that they eat. Now, notice the story starts off by talking about the different foods that they eat. It's a fun detail that we can learn about these farmers, but as we mentioned, it also helps us to find out who these guys are and it helps us to remember them because we don't really learn a whole lot about the farmers except for what they look like and what they eat. Now, if we remember that Boggis is the fat one, that sure is helpful. And we also can see that he's eating a lot of chicken and he has a great big belly. Okay, and that's because he eats too much. All right, he's a greedy guy. He is greedy. He eats too much. Okay? Now, it's important to remember not only what they eat, but it's important to remember what these things represent. Represent means, what does it mean? It's also showing us about their character, okay? We can learn that because he's eating so much food, he's a greedy guy. And we know that it's not good to be greedy, okay? Not sure who this lady is. Maybe it's his mom. Maybe he's just angrily yelling at his mom to bring him more chicken. You can see that he looks pretty angry there. If we move on, we also find out about Bunce's strange diet. Okay, he's a pretty strange fellow. He's very short. He's like the size of a child. Maybe he's about as big as you watching at home. He also makes these donuts, but they're not the kind that you might buy at Krispy Kreme or Dunkin' Donuts or your favorite donut shop. He fills them with goose liver, okay? Now, we're going to learn about what that is in Unit 2, okay, as we study our deep reading workbook in the next video. But to give you a little preview or a hint, goose liver is made... I won't explain what it is. It's actually kind of gross. But it's made by basically choking a goose and making the goose eat. So they stick this thing in the goose's mouth and the farmers that make goose liver, they force all this food down the goose's throat. Now, a goose might be happy to eat lots of food at first, but at some point, the goose is going to say, all right, that's enough. Stop feeding me. I've had enough. But that's not the point of... I'm going to make these guys look bad. That's not the point of why the farmer is feeding the goose this way. It's not to make the goose happy. It's to make the goose really fat. Okay? And this actually makes the goose kind of explode inside. I mean, it doesn't really explode, but I mean, you can imagine that it's just like boom, 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 boom. It's getting so big, like a balloon getting filled with air or water. And that's not good for the goose. Actually, because of this process, because of the way they do this, the goose ultimately dies. Okay? Now, one of the things we're going to talk about in Unit 2 in our next video is about animal cruelty. Cruelty is when you are mean or nasty to a person or a living thing for no good reason. Maybe because you like it. Maybe because you're just mean, not you, but anyway, a person who does this. And so that's the meaning behind the goose liver. Why is Buns eating goose liver? Why did Roald Dahl pick that food? Why not steak? Why not spaghetti? Because that wouldn't tell that he's evil. He eats goose liver, and that is a cruel food to eat, or at least in the minds of many people and probably Roald Dahl, since he used that example in his story. And finally, we have Mr. Bean. Sorry, Farmer Bean. Mr. Bean's very nice. Farmer Bean, nasty, no good. You probably think, oh wow, he's really skinny and he's drinking so much juice, cider. It's not juice. Actually, it's alcohol. If you don't know what that is, it means it's like wine. He's only drinking alcohol, which is kind of like a poison. It's not really good for you, and children can't drink it for sure. But he's always drunk. He's unhealthy. If you only drink alcohol and you never eat any food, as the book says he does, it says he doesn't eat any food at all, then you will be very skinny and unhealthy. He is an unhealthy person, and he's also drunk. Now, I'm not saying that because he's unhealthy, he's a nasty person, but I'm saying that this adds to his overall character of being a bad guy. Okay? So think about it. Think about how different the story might be if Farmer Bean only ate salad and fruit, okay, and nuts. You would say, oh, well, he's a villain, but he sure does take good care of himself. He's really healthy. It would totally change the way we think of Farmer Bean, right? Or what if Farmer Buns was a short little man, but he really liked to recycle. He liked to pick up garbage and make sure that the roads were clean. That would be a little bit confusing for us. We would say, well, I don't know whether to like him or hate him. And then it would be a complicated villain. Now, there can be complicated villains, but in this story, since it's a very short story, the villains have to be bad and the heroes have to be good. Or do they? Actually, that's a twist for the next video when we talk about Fantastic Mr. Fox. But now we get to Bogus, who is eating so much chicken and is always nasty. What if he was eating so much chicken, but instead of looking angry and probably yelling at this poor woman, who, strangely enough, looks like a chicken, if you notice that. I mean, look at her face. Why did they do that on purpose? Did the illustrator make her purposely look like a chicken? Serving chicken? How strange. But in any case, what if instead of looking angry and mean, he was looking really happy and even had hearts in his eyes, and he said, "Thank you, Mother. Can I have another portion, please?" That would be confusing. We would say, wow, for a bad guy, he sure is polite. Okay? So, that is the importance of knowing what these farmers are eating and how it establishes their character. Meaning, how does it make us know that they are definitely bad guys? Okay? We can see by the food that they eat, the way that they look, and the way that they act that they are bad guys. Not just because we're being told that they're bad guys, but we have the descriptions and then we know, yeah, these are villains. They're bad. Okay, that's it for this video. Next video, we're going to talk about how we can use these different foods to learn more about the world. Okay? Not only about these bad guys, but what are these foods and where do they come from? Stay tuned for the next video and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.